Are we live?
We're live.
And a minute early, actually. That's pretty good.
Perfect.
Okay, let's see. I think we are good. Hopefully you guys can hear us. Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining in on our monthly Q&A call. We're going to have those once a month. The next one is planned for the 24th of March. So put that in your calendar and ask us all your visa questions.
Yeah.
Also, please subscribe our YouTube channel. Click follow us so you always get the newest videos. We'll update it every week with tutorials, how to, and just videos about living and working in Germany.
Woohoo. I think every Wednesday we'll be posting them. So
yes, every Wednesday.
Awesome. Okay, so a little bit about Expat Launcher really quick before we get into your questions. If you have comments, please put them in the chat box or comment, whatever you see on your screen, and then we'll answer them for you now. A little bit about Expat Launcher. So what do we do?
We do... we try to be a one-stop shop company for everything expats coming to Germany need. That is visa service, residence permit service, as well as health insurance.
Yeah, that's really a key thing. I think the health insurance is a tricky one for a lot of people. Okay, so we do specialize in freelance, self-employed, and employment. Did you say that already?
No.
Okay. And we also specialize in blue card or helping companies with employees they want to bring from abroad. So, okay, if you have comments, you can put them in the chat box and we'll get started. So since the last call we had a few weeks ago, we had a lot of emails come in with questions. And I think, it's just really helpful to share them now. So let's start. Should I ask you? Okay. What is a visa and what is a residence permit?
Okay, so there is a little bit confusion on this, and sometimes the terms are used as the same, but from a legal standpoint, they're not. A visa is a permit document that allows you to enter Germany. Most nations do need a visa to enter Germany. EU citizens and the so-called aid-friendly nations do not. They can enter without. But important to note, a visa in a legal sense is just a document that allows you to enter. The residence permit is really what most freelancers are after. That's the document that allows you to work and stay for a prolonged period of time. Another difference, the visa is issued at the German embassy in the country where you apply. And the residence permit is issued in Germany at the foreigner's office.
So for countries that you're allowed from that country to enter and apply for resident permit, we highly recommend doing that in Germany.
Yes.
We'll make it a lot easier for you. Okay, next question. Entry restrictions. Good old Corona.
The Corona restrictions. Right now, it is even harder to come into Germany. And there are only a few people that are allowed to enter right now. So tourist travel is not possible. So if you're a resident in Germany, you can enter, even if you're not a German citizen, obviously for transit, if your flight goes through. And then if you can prove that you need to come here for work. But don't take this too lightly. You will have to show some proof that you actually need to be here. The other option is the so-called sweetheart visa, where you can enter Germany if your significant other is living in Germany and you can prove that you two actually have a international relationship, then you might be able to come.
To come and stay. It is typically for short-term stays. So we can, if you have further questions about that, you can always email us and we can, kind of explain it more in detail.
So when you come in, do you need a COVID test? And also for all the people watching us, we're glad you're here. Feel free to ask us all your questions in the chat.
And subscribe, please. Okay, so...
Do you need a COVID test when you enter Germany?
You do. So things are changing, obviously, very, very quickly. We will link some useful resources in the section below. I don't know what it's called on YouTube for you guys. But yes, you do need to take a test before arriving. Yeah, do you want to go over the different risk areas now? There are a few different variants. The test should be within 48 hours, no older than 48 hours, correct? And this is really important for the people coming from risk areas. So,
and right now, Germany distinguishes between 3 different types of areas. There's risk areas, there's high incidence areas, and there's high risk virus variant areas.
Crazy.
They're all treated similarly, but there are a few differences when it comes into details. But we don't want to go into them. That would be more a case-by-case decision because it changes every few weeks. So that's really not anything that you can rely on. Just have to know if you come from a risk area, you will need a corona test. Also, after you arrive in Germany, you will need to go into quarantine for at least 10 days in most states. There is the so-called 2-test strategy. That means you need a test to enter, then you go into quarantine, and after 5 days of quarantine, you can shorten it by providing a second COVID test. And if that comes back clear, the second test, then you can enter quarantine after 5 days.
Yeah. And keep in mind that Germany's still under a strict lockdown. So until March 7th, and then I'm sure it's going to extend. But keep that in mind that even if you do come in, there's still a lot of stuff going on, a lot of changes because of the pandemic. So it's just crazy times. Okay, so let's talk about health insurance. I think that's a big one for a lot of people. A question that we got, I think a few times actually, were just what are the different types of health insurance that someone can get?
In Germany, the biggest difference is between the public and the private system. Most people are in the public system. That's the state-run healthcare system. That's very basic for everyone. On the other hand, there's the private health insurance system. We will gear this more towards freelancers. If you're a student employee, then you will be most likely in the public system. If you're a freelancer, you will most likely be in the private system. That's not necessarily a good or a bad thing. Just in the private system, you have to know there's a huge variety of options. From very cheap travel insurance to the standard comprehensive German private insurance to international providers. And if you're interested in the topic, then I would really just recommend talk to a health insurance broker, ideally with me, and schedule a call. And we can,
that wasn't a plug.
No plug at all. And then we can talk about that in detail because it's really very individual. But those are the main types that exists.
Good. Yeah. And so like Giannis said, you can go to our website and we do offer free consultation, and he'll spend time with you to go over your personal needs and look into what type of permit that you're applying for, and then issue quotes for you to review. Another question for health insurance is, how can I set up health insurance? Or how and when, I guess.
Yeah. It depends a bit on the type of health insurance. The cheap travel insurances and the international insurances you can set up before you come to Germany, so you're covered from the first day. For German full private insurance, you need to be registered. So you can only do that after you arrive. In many cases, it's something you should take care shortly before arriving, or at least in the first month after being in Germany, just so you know you're covered. If anything happens, there's no risk.
Yeah, especially nowadays, right?
Absolutely.
It's crazy. Okay, so
okay, one more question. I'm waiting to move to Germany. What can I do?
Okay, that's an interesting one. So, okay. what we say, if you are not here already, we say, you're coming to Germany, narrow down the city. If you have the city that you've want to move to, narrow down the district that you're looking for. Look at the neighborhoods, check out the areas. There's not so much you can do until you're in Germany, unfortunately. Especially now, if you don't know when you're arriving, if you don't know where you're living, if you haven't figured out what permit type you want. So there's a lot of things that you can do to kind of rearrange and organize yourself ahead of time. But really looking for jobs, interviewing for jobs, housing search is going to be done closer to when you're arriving or when you're in Germany. What I always tell people is if you're a freelancer and say you're an English teacher, look for schools in those areas. Don't apply just yet, right? 30, 45 days before you're going to be here is a good time to talk to schools. Learn German. That might be something in your downtime while you're waiting, right? And I think, just researching and have patience. Unfortunately, I wish it was better, but that's just what it is.
We had to learn it too, make the most of the situation. Obviously, this is also not great for a company when the borders are closed. Yeah. But that gave us some extra time to start a YouTube channel. So you just have to make it work and then try to find other ways and try to see the silver lining. And
downsize as much as you can, save up as much as you can. So there are things that you can do to kind of organize yourself ahead, but just know that once you're here is when you're going to hit the ground running with a lot of things. Okay.
We got a question in the chat. How long would you anticipate the wait until things relax a bit?
We are hoping. Well, okay. What do we? 1, 2, 3. What'd you say?
I say it's basically impossible to say. If we had that, we could make millions on the stock market. But just to give you just our personal opinion, and then maybe you think something different. I don't know. We didn't discuss this before. So I would think that, to be honest, travel and borders will be the last thing that gets relaxed, unfortunately. They will first relax schools, kindergartens, then the work environment, bars, restaurant, and then travel will be kind of last on that list. So definitely not before summer, rather maybe fall this year. That's when I think that's when I think the border travel will hopefully be more relaxed. That doesn't mean it's impossible to come in now, but just things go back to normal. I don't think before summer.
I think I'm hoping summer travel starts to ease. That's what I'm hoping for. But you're right. I don't think, and again, it's one of those things where if you can come in, you're lucky ones that can arrive and start getting settled. Other things are delayed. So we are in a strict lockdown where finding housing is harder, finding jobs, and it is not to deter anyone from their plans. I know a lot of you have been waiting since last year, right, to come. Yeah. So it's just an extra step to know that coming here, that you will have to really put in the work to job search, house search, and then the permit will take a little bit longer to get, depending on the city that you're going to.
But maybe because I'm not sure what you were getting at with the relaxing, I only talked about borders. I think the restaurants and bars, that will be earlier. I would, with a little bit of good luck, that will be March, maybe April, when that will be possible. I'm optimistic on that. I don't think they can keep it closed for too long. So once you get into Germany, I think the situation in the next few months will get significantly better.
Yeah. Just in general,
the travel would be the last thing.
That's true. Okay, good question. Another question. Okay, going back, this is kind of what we just talked about, but it's really hard finding a job and housing during the pandemic. What can I do? Mm-hmm. We talked about this a little bit just a second ago, but make a list of jobs. So if you've narrowed down the city, you're ahead of most people, right, that are coming. So make a list of the jobs. If you're a freelance English teacher and you're going to where? Berlin. You're going to Berlin. Look at the different districts. Look at the schools in that area. Make a list. have it ready, have your CV updated that you can, once things start opening and you know that you can apply, then you can send it out. Be patient and expect delays. I think it's really important, especially with companies and language schools, to submit your CV in appropriate timing, because schools are closed, they're reduced staff. It's really hard to get to CVs, especially if someone is sending one that may not come here this year. So I would think making a list and organizing yourself is key. Okay.
Okay, that's kind of on that. I'm waiting to hear back from German authorities. Do I need to leave? So if you're already here and you already have applied, no, you don't need to leave. As long as your application is filed, just make sure it's really filed. Best case scenario, you have a confirmation from the authority, but then you're free to stay. However, you're not necessarily, in most cases, actually, you won't be able to leave the country and re-enter. So you need to stay in Germany, but you can stay in Germany. That's the good news. Also, the authorities are working on home offices and are slower right now.
Yeah.
And they're not the fastest anyway. So
they're backlogged to begin with. So yeah, as long as you've applied in some of your, either the visa that you've entered on or your 90-day tourist visa, you've applied on time, you can stay in Germany and wait for that decision to be made. Keep a confirmation that you've submitted to the authorities with you after your visa is expired or your 90 days is up. I'd have that handy just in your wallet. You never know. Yeah, I would just keep that with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you help clients throughout Germany?
We do.
Yes.
You can go to any city. We've worked with clients in teeny little towns and that I can't even say.
I don't know how many towns have we worked?
Oh my, can't even count. But big cities, small areas. Yeah. We do know pretty much every state and how they're processing time with, time-wise and stuff. So, but we will help you, throughout Germany. Okay, let's see what we have. Another question is, how am I supposed to submit my application if visa offices no longer take walk-ins or they're taking several months to get an appointment?
Obviously, email in. You just have to make sure you get a confirmation to know that it really has been filed. If you are a client of us, then we will take care of that. Important, use PDF formats. Don't use JPEGs. They hate that. They might not even look at your application with JPEGs, depending on how friendly the agent is, because it's just extra work for them. And make sure you keep an electronic paper trail. So what I mean is, make sure you save all the communication, whatever you need to do, print it as a PDF, save it in a different folder, or print it out as a paper, just to make sure you have the important steps in the process documented. And pro tip, you can, even with some offices, try to send a fax. If you're like me, I've never used a fax machine in my life, a real one. But since we're working with so many authorities, we use electronic faxes. So basically on our end, it looks like we just upload a file, but it comes out on their end as a fax in their fax machine. And the authorities, some of them tend to be really quick with faxes where they don't respond to emails because they're just stuck in the old ways, and the fax gets through and they get bombarded with emails and not that many faxes.
Yeah, but please don't bombard them with fax and email and phone calls. We don't want to get a phone call saying, you've told them to fax. No, a fax works in the event you cannot get a confirmation for them. So email them. You should get an auto response from most offices, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
If you get the auto response email, it's very generic. 9 times out of 10, it's in English and in German. That's what you can keep to know that they've got their confirmation. We were at one visa office, and the gentleman was saying that he has over 700 emails every few days. They just can't work that fast with the reduced staff. So please give them some time to get back to you.
True that.
Yeah. Did you just say true that? Okay, so let's see what else we have. I think we're running through our questions pretty quick.
Unless you guys have something for us, now is your chance.
Yep, leave in the comments or chat box. I think you guys see. We pretty much covered everything. Just as a reminder, I know a lot of our clients or people that we speak with on a regular basis are coming from the US. We do work with people all over the world. But we highly recommend, if you can apply in Germany, to do it here. I've gotten a lot this week. Yeah. Do I need to inform the German embassy in the US that I'm coming here? No. So I would think that just leave the embassy, because that's a visa. So you would have to do everything in the US and then come here and then convert that to a permit, which for countries like the US that can come in, just do everything here. It's going to save you the hassle. And save you time in the end, right? Yeah. Okay, then I think that, do you have anything else you want to add or say?
No? Just remember, our next monthly Q&A call will be March 24th. We'll upload a video every Wednesday on this channel. So please, again, subscribe, click the little bell icon. And yeah, if you're interested, send us an email to info@expertlauncher.com, and we can answer your more personal questions that you maybe don't feel comfortable asking on there.
And more specific to your general case and your plans and your city. You can always email us information or questions about different cities.
Or book a free consultation on a homepage, expertlauncher.com/contact us. That's how you get a hold of us.
Awesome. Okay, then we will see you guys in March.
See you in March. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. Take care.